Pretty cool commercial, huh? Oh, where's Noxious? Noxious guy. Yeah. By the way, valuetownacting.com works too. It goes to the same page. So you can go to either of those and get the promo, which is $25 off your bill, and no plans, nothing you have to sign on to, guys. It's just that, nothing that holds you to a year or anything like that. Literally, you can just start using it and just pay as you go, and you can leave anytime you want. But while we wait for Noxious, why don't we move on and talk a little bit about news that's going on in Hearthstone? He's back. The commercial's not that long, dude,
I was just trying to spook them.
Yeah, totally. You're playing around Meteor again, right? That's exactly what you're doing.
Clearly.
But we're talking about some news now. So I think the biggest point of news, or at least one of the biggest topics in the community, is that there's been a bunch of Wild things announced. And today, of course, is the beginning of the Wild Tavern Brawl, which is the first one that's been done in Wild. The previous two have been all standard. And yeah, have you guys gotten a chance to play the Wild Tavern Brawl?
I haven't yet, but I'm going to be smashing it over the next few days as much as I can. Because, very excited for it. Because Egg Druid is fantastic in Wild.
Is it? Like, I wasn't sure, dude. I'm trying to figure out what the good decks are in Wild, because I've played very, very little Wild, and I've got so many choices, man. I'm like, God, Pirate Warrior, I feel like is going to be good. And then I saw that VLPS did well with a Nazal Shaman, so it's like, oh, that always pulls at my heart, of course. And so it's just like, I don't even know what to play. So
I think Reno Lock is also still a thing. I think in Wild,
really?
All the
I think I saw Firebat, doing that.
Yeah. It's gotta be insane.
Oh my God. It's too many choices, man.
Insane, dude.
Too many choices.
Like, you can play Cruel in that deck even if you want. Like, you can go as far as,
Yeah.
that's how good it is.
Any deck with Mad Scientist in is probably good.
Yeah, that's true.
Could try Discover. The thing is, Discover Mage is probably worse because it's got more stuff to draw from. But I haven't really looked at the numbers on what you can get.
I mean, I was thinking about Fatigue Mage, because you have like Deathlord, Oracles, and now you have the Manic Soulcaster to send something back in your deck as well. So I might try something like that.
Yeah, you were mentioning that. That's true. I didn't even think about the Deathlord return.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that Aggro Druid's probably just good.
Aggro Druid's already good. It's just even better now with more eggs. More eggs to add to Egg Druid.
Let's can't wait for some more Nerubian Egg and Haunted Creeper action.
Got eggs and egg nap. Do you have egg nappers in it too?
Yeah, I don't know if there's even
Might as well.
egg nappers.
Thematically.
Sucking all the eggs.
Right. So yeah, definitely go and check that out. It's available right now if you guys have 1,000 gold or $10 you want to spend. It's kind of a weird timing, I have to say. I felt like I have to say I'm a little bit less I don't know, less enthused about wanting to go and do it, given that I have so little gold. And I don't know, there's something about like paying $10 to do it one time that doesn't really jive with me very well. But if I have the gold, I feel good about doing it. And usually I have tens of thousands of gold by the time they do the brawl, right? Because it's always before an expansion. But now that it's like after we've spent all our golds on packs and shit, I've only got like 2,000 gold. So it's, maybe 2 runs for me or something like that.
Yeah, I think one of the things, when they usually bring out one of these like new game modes or exciting Tavern Brawl, it's often when the meta is like stale, and so people feel like they want something a bit different and like something exciting. Whereas right now, the meta is very exciting and there's lots of stuff going on, and a lot of people haven't tried out all the good decks or don't know what the best decks are.
So I'm just not a fan of Heroic Tavern Brawl as a concept, because I think even if you do well, at the end of the day, you're still getting swindled reward-wise, or at least the average player is getting completely swindled, and that's what gets me.
Is that true though? Like, I wonder what the average run is, because
3-3. Well, there you go.
Because if you get to 4, I think if you get to 4, it's actually fair, right?
Well, that's not going to be your average, though, unless you count people conceding to you, retire afterwards. I don't know. Because, the thing is, it's got to be 3. 3-3 has to be the average. Because it's a zero-sum game.
Yeah,
so
true.
win, lose, and then...
Makes sense.
Sure, some people, there will be outliers, but there will never be enough outliers to really make up for it. And the 3-3 rewards are such garbage that I'm just like, whoa, you what, mate? It's really awful. So... And it's just a value proposition that I'm not comfortable with. But I recognize that some people like high stakes games, right? Like
No question.
Or
No
some
question.
people love it. It just doesn't work with me. Like I don't get excited at the thought of losing $100,000 on a coin flip. You know, like that's not something I like. So I would not put 1,000 gold in this. I would just buy 10 packs and be done with it. But however, the experience itself is fun. The issue is that it's not a tournament. And so I'm not interested. But if it were a tournament system with brackets and best of threes, I'd be like, count me in. I would like something different than Hearthstone. Now you're just asking me to play ladder with the prize money like up front. You know, I don't want to do that.
Okay, yeah.
I don't want a ladder for gold.
How do you feel about Tavern Brawl, Jackie? Or Heroic?
I love it. I think it's exciting. And one thing I would say is I think it would be better if they did it in addition to the normal Tavern Brawl, because obviously a lot of players don't have much gold and they like want to get their pack every week through some interesting game mode in Tavern Brawl, and this kind of limits that, and they have to. So if they had the normal Tavern Brawl plus this, I think it'd be great because it gives the people who want to, the gamblers who have a lot of gold to spend and want to do these risky runs, it gives them the opportunity to do that while the lower gold community can still play Tavern Brawl. But for me, I'm really excited. I want to get 12 wins with Egg Druid. So
yeah,
I mean, just jam it in as often as you can, right? That's the thing. After 5 times, if you get 12 wins, you've paid for your run in packs because you get 50 packs and 3 golden legendaries. Like I think that's where you start seeing people, get excited. Is that it takes 5 runs as a good player to get that kind of streak. Okay, sure, it'll pay for itself. But I mean, you don't need the packs usually.
Yeah,
I do it for fun.
I would still like to see them have different tiers, like maybe just 1 or 2. I mean, they could even go higher if they wanted. If they want to really,
what do you mean?
Really enable the degenerate gamblers and go like 2,000, then they could. But I feel like there should at least be a 500, something that's less, like a $505, just so folks that think that that 1,000 is too much can still experience the Tavern Brawl or Heroic Tavern Brawl to some extent. I'm surprised they haven't done that yet because I think they would get more people to do it too. And
do they care about siphoning your gold away? No, they care about your money.
Yeah, so I mean, it's $5.
It's fine.
It's $5 too. I mean, it doesn't matter. Right?
It's not because like most people who will wait to hoard gold, right, will not then spend money because they spent their gold. That's just not the free to play mentality. And the free to play mentality has got to be so averse to this. It's mind blowing.
So I mean, free to play, they're not going to play it anyway. So I mean, you might as well make it lower tiered for some folks that are spending money. That $10 is just a little bit more. So
like the little money guys, the guys that spend
just like 5. I mean, 500 is still more than Arena and things like that. I mean, it's still a little bit higher stakes. And if they wanted just to experience these events, I kind of consider Heroic Tavern Brawl an event. And it's only selective, right? I mean, not selective, but it's only I don't know what percentage of the people play it, but it can't be that large of a percentage of people playing Tavern Brawl, given how much it is.
$10 a pop. You'd be surprised how many casuals buy into it.
$10
That's
a
just
pop.
It.
It's like
nothing. No.
It's like going to Dave and Buster and paying $10 to play a freaking game of Galaga.
No, this is not how mobile game monetization works.
I know.
That's just not it.
I know.
On paper, you're like $10 for a run. Are you nuts? But the mobile market is just rife with people who spend like $500 in one day. And that's not even, that's a lot, but it's not impossible. Like you run into a few whales that do that. And so the average player is like, oh, I can do this Tavern Brawl, twice this week for $20. Seems good to me. They're like, oh, I'll put $20 this week, and that's fine. And they're just looking at this, I could get 50 packs. Like it's randomly going to appear, and they're randomly going to get 12 wins with their, shitty Paladin deck that's outdated.
I don't know,
but
when you say 2 runs for $20 versus 2 runs for 2,000 gold. It sounds so much worse than me.
I would pay $20 before I gave you 2,000 gold because my time is worth more than that gold farming by like a margin that you can't even imagine. Like the farming of gold in this game is so abysmally slow that dumping 1,000 gold into it instead of $10 is telling yourself, well, I'll never buy card packs then, because the value you get out of that 1,000 gold is so low. It's
I mean,
unreal.
it
Like,
is
you
more
already
efficient.
get no value
I
out of
give you
10
that.
bucks.
It
but-
definitely is more efficient to spend the money. It sounds so much worse to me. I don't know. It could just
It's
be
the
me, though.
opposite to me, man. The 20
Yeah.
bucks sounds like nothing, and the 2,000 gold sounds like an absurd amount of time.
It's like
I can't even fathom.
Golds are just like throwing around casino chips. You know, they don't feel like anything.
Yeah, maybe. I
Yeah.
don't
What do you
know.
think about the idea of maybe having like Tavern Brawl as usual, where you have a different Tavern Brawl every week, but Heroic Brawl becomes a permanent thing, so there's always the option of the Heroic Brawl.
I don't like
But
that. I don't like
You don't
that.
like it?
No, because I think what does make it special for folks is that it doesn't happen all the time, and
Could be 1 week a month, right? That's fine.
could be
Yeah.
1 week a month, but I still like it being more of an event. We don't have many events in Hearthstone outside of releases, expansion releases, and I think this kind of facilitates that sort of thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
that's kind of leads my thoughts. So another announcement for Wild that the Hearthstone team came out with is that they tweeted that the top 64 from ranked Wild in May can qualify for an upcoming official Wild tournament. More info to come. So they're really building out this competitive Wild scene, or at least putting some effort into trying to build up this competitive Wild scene. And there was already a hint of that. I think XR mentioned that just I think late last year, and we hadn't really seen too much until now. We're starting to see just two things at once, really. So what do you guys think about this? Just the obviously a tournament for Wild, an official tournament for Wild, and the fact that they're using ladder, as a way to qualify for it.
I mean, I think it's really, really good, because I think one of the main reasons people don't play Wild is not because they're not going to enjoy it, but because there's no like competitive incentive. There's no reward for getting rank 1 legend. You know what I mean? Like, one of my teammates control the board. He purely plays Wild and gets top 10 legend in Wild every season, but there's no there's no reward for that. There's very little recognition. Whereas something like this, purely this is just going to make so many more people play Wild, and I think that's
You already see it. People are already flocking to it after they heard the announcement. Most people might not even qualify, as they already know, but at least they're like, when I stream, I don't have to play standard because people, want me to play standard. No one. There's also the whole thing with streamers, right? Being a part of the equation.
Yeah.
Where Blizzard's community is, it's not centered around streamers. That's false. But a lot of those, massive social media, hey guys, we're doing this. It's that appeals to the same crowd that already watches Twitch. So now people will be like, hey, can we see some Wild decks, instead of saying, oh, you're playing Wild Resident Sleeper. Now they're going to understand why you do it, and they'll be interested in seeing what the meta looks like. Whereas they just didn't care if you did it before. I used this expansion early before the announcement. I played Spirit Singer Umbra Dreadsteed Warlock, which was actually insane. It was actually insane. Barring Priest, the deck is just good, and because they always steal your Dreadsteeds and then your life sucks. But the fact that everybody in the chat was like, "Oh, this sucks. This is boring." Occasionally you meme and they're happy, but most of the time it's just the average ladder game. They're just bored. In standard, they're never like that, even if I get a boring game. So it's clearly better, at least as a streamer, that people will finally accept, I guess, to watch you play Wild.
Yeah,
that makes any sense.
I think it's good. I mean, I'm a little worried that they're going with these official Wild tournaments and things like that, because when they start something, I want them to maintain it, continue it and maintain it. And we know they're not balancing for Wild. So it's a little bit scary as to the potential of something just becoming stupidly broken and it just being pointless. But we have options, though, right? If that ever happens, everybody just goes back to standard again, that sort of thing.
Nah, I'm cool with Wild being broken. I want to see turn 3 kills. I'm cool with that. I am 100% cool with it.
Maybe the official Wild. I mean, maybe I'm thinking a little bit too much as an HCT type of thing. Maybe the official Wild tournament is just some periodic, fun, super crazy Wild tournament, that they're going to be hosting, and that's cool. I mean, I think that's really, really fun and neat. So overall, I think it is a plus. I think it's great that they are giving more incentive to the Wild players and people playing Wild, just because it is pretty wacky and it leverages all the cards that they've ever made. So you might as well do something for it, right? Instead of just having to just sit there being like the garbage can, like, here guys, this is like where we bring all the cards to die type of thing, and you can just still play with them, or more of like a memorial type of thing. So yeah, it'll be good to see if any of the standard players end up switching over to Wild, and because qualifying for HCT takes like all of your time. Like the folks that I've been talking to recently and just trying to get 19, 20, whatever points.
It's like 23, I think, was the cutoff.
Or 23, or they haven't decided the cutoff yet. It's somewhere in there. But I mean, these people are playing these open cups like every single week and just grinding ladder. Having the time to play Wild. There's no time to play Wild, so it's a bit, I guess, daunting or mutually exclusive, I guess, from the competitive players.
Yeah, well, I mean, one thing that I like is that they're adding support to it. I mean, it's a good business move on their part anyway, to just support. Well, we talked about Wild Packs, but I think this definitely hints at Wild Packs becoming a thing at some point. Like,
I think you keep
why
saying
make
that.
those tournaments and those things if they're not going to add a way for people to go back in time and craft those cool decks? I mean, it's already. I mean, I don't know. I don't like the crafting costs of cards right now for Wild is so damn steep, bro.
It is crazy.
I mean, I think if Wild tournaments became more popular and Wild became more competitive, I don't think there would be a problem with certain people being specialists in Standard and certain people being specialists in Wild. Like, I think that would be.
It just widens it. Yeah, I think so too. I think it just widens the scope of just the potential for more notable players, and that's always a good thing. All right, last bit of thing is I felt like I add some bit of community or just a post that from a community member that a lot of folks always ask about, and that's budget decks. So there was a post by Hamiro that really lays out 9 budget decks for each of the classes right now, with a little bit of an optimized list, as well as just a little bit of an explanation on how to play them. And I thought it was really, really great. So I figured I would add it to the notes, and obviously I'm not going to read all these out like online or anything like that, right? But I'll include it in the notes. You guys can always find the notes in the descriptions for the VODs and the audios. But I'll go ahead and link it in the Twitch chat too right now, so everybody can check it out. But really great. People that spend this much time actually, putting a post like this together too, I think, it's good for us to appreciate that sort of thing. Okay, well, why don't we move on to Q&A? I think that's all we got left. Actually, one mention of Deck of the Week. So we didn't end up doing a Deck of the Week recording this week, guys, just because I think that new time I picked just wasn't really good for anybody. So we didn't have anybody show up for it. So I'm going to go back to the 1 p.m. Monday thing, and where we had a good number of people show up, and see if that helps out. But I just want to let you guys know, at least all the patrons have been asking because they were wondering why there wasn't a recording, and that's why. But let's see. Let's go over one question that we have. We only have one right now, so if you guys want to, I don't know, maybe tweet your questions or maybe include it in the Twitch chat. Maybe we have time for one more. TF Boy asks, I'm sure you have heard about the discussion being brought up with the expansion being somewhat expensive. It's like, really? Has that been a topic in the community? Seriously?
Nah, really?
I'm sure you've heard. I'm sure you've heard many examples of guests being on one of the main barriers, such as or quests being one of the main barriers. I guess he should put guests there. Oh no, I think it's quests, such as Kibler's video that was posted on Sunday. But there's also 2 other factors I'm not seeing being discussed. One being that the quality of epic cards has gone up severely in the Ungoro set. Before, most epic cards were either a very unusual tech card or a very specific niche. Now it seems like we have so many must-craft epic cards in a lot of core decks in the meta right now. The second point being that the release of Ungoro, this will be the first time that in Hearthstone's history we have 2 huge expansions released back to back. For people like me, adventures were nice for players like myself to catch up by paying for adventures with money and continuing to save up gold. Now with everyone coming from mean streets, I don't have nearly as much gold I would normally have for Ungoro. So I guess this question is, want to hear they basically wants to hear our thoughts on both of those factors. Yeah, anybody want to jump in first?
Go ahead, Jackie.
I mean, I think the point about firstly, I think an expansion with a load of cards, like 120, 130 cards, I think it's great. I think it's much better than adventures. Like, I'd much rather have loads and loads of cards to play with rather than like about 40 cards and an adventure. Yeah. That's just my personal opinion. I do think the issue is mainly the necessity of the legendary and epic cards. Like, they are like the best decks. You have to have the warrior quest, you have to have the rogue quest, you have to have expensive cards. It's not like, for example, in the past there were strong decks like Zoo, which was a very cheap deck. It was one of the best decks in the game, but it was very cheap. There's a lot less of those decks right now.
There's Hunter. That's about it. Hunter's the cheapest one, I think.
Micro Druid's not too far behind.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Living Mana, but
that's
still
like two
epics.
epics.
Yeah, we're still talking about.
I think it's a little bit of a problem, but yeah. Nothing insane in my opinion.
I think it's worse, but I don't think it's that much worse, like you're saying.
Oh, like, it's much worse. But
you think it's much worse? Okay.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Well, I'm thinking from the grand scheme of things, yes. There's a lot more cards. You have to buy more cards. I think that's true. But from the standpoint of like viable decks that you could get budget wise, I mean, I think you could still get the same number of budget decks that you could get before if you are just solely a free to play type of player. Now, if you're going to try to get every single deck, yeah, it's a freaking daunting task because we have, these resets and we have 2 back-to-back huge expansions, and there's no, there's no adventures that release in bundles. So I would say one thing they could do that is very similar to what or how people view the adventure modes and things like that. Now that adventure modes are just going to be given for free, just release card bundles. Like, forget like these packs, like put these specific legendaries into a bundle or epics and then sell them for a certain amount.
Yeah, but then that's the thing is, like, you're looking at this as a real card game where no, but I'm not kidding, where you have casuals who open card packs because they love the hype, and you've got the competitive players who buy. No, yeah, you're looking at this that way as a real game. Yeah, the truth is, Blizzard does not want any of your, I'm a competitive player, I buy the cards I want and I move on. They don't want any of that. What they want is, and this is just playing on the human psychology, they want you to pull a lever every time you're going to get something. So that way, when it hits well, you're just, it's awesome. Because the highs are actually more memorable. The highs and lows are really memorable. But the whiplash effect, when it goes from low to high, when you get that golden legendary as a free-to-play player, like, holy shit, you just forget about all the shit that happened before. It immediately happens. So then you spend more time and effort, and eventually you buy money. You buy like real money stuff. So they have no incentive to just sell bundles of hard to acquire cards. Zero. Like, almost none.
I think opening packs is exciting though. I would rather have the packs over
no, I'm not saying like get rid of packs. I'm just saying there are specific cards, and if you're doing it strategically, there are specific cards that do give you just a little bit of that entry that gets you into the buying packs. Like, you don't have to give them every single good card. Just give them one good card. It's kind of like giving us Cthulhu. Or
what's the line though? It's so easy to, like, again, I agree with you. One quest should have been the award to everyone.
Yeah, sure. One quest would have been great. Yeah, that'd be cool.
It's one of those things where do you draw the line? Because it's always pushed back, right? It's always pushed back. The moment I give you one quest, you then say, you get used to it for 2 expansions, and you say, well, shit, one quest. We've always had one quest, but there are 9. It would be nice if we could at least get 2 decks for diversity's sake. All right, we're going to give you 2 quests. Then you say, well, that's like 2 out of 9. It's not even 25% of the fucking content. Like, and it's not even accounting for the other epics I need in that deck. And you're never done. You're never done complaining about not having enough.
Sure.
And that is just, one of the reasons they don't want to fall into the trap of giving away. I don't say too much, but it's a weird way to put it. They don't want to fall into the trap of. They know that we're going to keep complaining. They know. They're not dumb.
The complaining that's a constant. Like, that's never going to stop. And when you're talking about giving stuff free, yeah, there's this kind of like fine line as to what you should do and what you should be giving. But I'm not talking about giving away for free. I'm talking about offering like some kind of pack. that actually costs
Well, like,
money. You have to go and
I'm
buy
okay with
it. But,
recipes. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, what is it? Buying recipes or buying decks, whatever you want to call it. But actually going and buying like these kind of bundles, which seem they still make money. The reality of it, guys, is that they don't necessarily do anything. Is because they don't have to do anything because like the numbers aren't showing that there's like this huge, down, like this downtrend in users. I mean, we're 70 million now, guys. I mean, it freaking continues to go up. So there obviously isn't a trend that people are reacting or consumers are reacting in a negative way yet. And that's the main reason they don't change things. In my opinion.
I think one thing that could have been good is like when they gave everyone Cthulhu at the start of the expansion. If they gave everyone the kind of like, okay, this expansion you can pick a quest and you can have that quest. I think
that would have been
the community would be a lot happier with just something small like that. I think would make it a big difference because
it's not the community; it's the new players. It's like
I don't know. I think that would make a massive difference.
They would be happy until they all took the hunter quest because they're all idiots.
Oh, that would suck. All the hunter people are like,
I'm sorry,
I got the hunter one,
that's
and then they realize
that is just your community. They're
gonna
gonna
listen to life coach and then regret it.
They're gonna be super happy for 3 days and then realize, oh shit, I got screwed. I got totally screwed.
They would all be mad. That's just it.
No, I mean the reason I bring it up is just because I've had literally 4 or 5 emails or messages asking, "Hey, I'm just getting back into Hearthstone," and it's like, it seems kind of harder to get into it, just with the cards, and like I don't know where to start, and I don't, from a standpoint of buying stuff, like I don't even know where to go. And it's true. It's like, I don't even know where to tell them to. And it's like, okay, do you have like this expansion? Like, do you have this expansion? And I feel like they could make some bundles that make it a little bit easier for those folks. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. So going back on the topic of, free to play and what they could do, because ultimately, like our thoughts on the matter, I would like Blizzard, when they release adventures, because they will keep releasing, PvE content with the sets that come out.
The next one.
So we will get PvE content in the next set, and I would like the completion of that adventure to give gold, for instance, because one of the big things is, they've mentioned before, a big chunk of the player base never actually PvPs, and I know that blows your mind because you're like, whoa. Isn't there just PvP? No, some people like to play against AI because a lot of them.
I'd like to see that number. Wow.
But it's interesting because honestly, like I've spoken to a lot of people about this, but ladder anxiety is a thing in Hearthstone. We don't feel it because we're just desensitized to caring about the game. But it's like, imagine somebody who comes in. It's caring about the outcome in many ways. It's like
we don't
you
care
get
about
salty,
how,
but like. Before starting a game, you just don't care. You've done it enough that the anxiety is gone, right? Like the climbing, you've already done it. You know how it is. There's high variance, so you accept it. But people who've never engaged it approach it the same way as some people approach StarCraft 2.
Oh god, that was crazy. Ladder.
No, but they think there's so much on the line because it's their ego versus someone else's ego, right? And that's a huge stress on them, which is why they default to PvE a lot of the time. And that segment of the player base, even if you were to give them, PvP rewards or something like that, if they're free to play and they don't spend money and they want rewards and you want them to tell about, the game to their friends because they get to play these awesome cards, these people are more likely to only play among friends and in PvE. So if you give them adventure rewards, that's going to be great. Daily login rewards, those are great. Yeah. But like you can't start gating content behind PvP. So I think at the end of the day, the best way to approach, I think, rewards is going to be through PvE adventures. Like I would like them to give us like, if you complete this, you get a one-time chunk of gold and you can occasionally, reset it or something and get, grind an extra 100 gold here and there, like once per month. When the ladder resets, you can go through adventures again if you want to, and just complete it as a dungeon and then get your gold again.
Yeah,
that's like another way to do it.
Yeah, I think that would be a great way to do it too. But I feel like they're far from that though. The PvE side of things is, I think maybe there's like one guy working on that, maybe one guy, and developing that out into something, much more rich and its own type of game. I think we're probably a bit away from that.
Do you get tired of playing the same stuff is the question? Because at the end of the day, like the people who complain about not having a deck, they have a deck. They're just fed up with it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I have a mid-range hunter deck. Thanks everyone.
Some
for
people
letting me know
play
that,
Hearthstone like that though. You know, the casual player, they're happy with just playing with one deck. You know, it's just the people that are hardcore but don't have money. You know, those are the people that get sad about playing.
I don't know. I disagree. I think the issue with the cost at the moment is that people want to try all these different things. People want to try Quest Mage and Quest, all the different Quest decks and all these different decks, but it's just impossible with the amount of gold that the cards you need to play them cost. So,
yep,
it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing, and it's not getting. You know, it's a tough thing to solve too. I mean, on the other side, Hearthstone's a free game. Like, what is the legitimate, like, should they give everything for free? And what kind of, what is the barrier? Like, how much should they expect people to play? Or how many, should they just make legendaries really weak with 1 or 2 good legendaries that everyone should craft? Or should they just, like, what's the solution other than making packs cheaper or giving people free?
And it has to not be boring either. It can't just be just like, oh, an expansion came out, pick a legendary, here you go. Like, it has to be something else, something more compelling. Like, you know, when they give you a new deck recipe with a new expansion, which they're going to start rotating them, I believe, every time. That's a great way. You tell people, all right, you know what, for $20 you get the whole deck.
Yeah.
You know, the other are few epics. There's one legendary that's key to the deck. Let's say in the quest format, they would have given you the priest quest with all the epics within it, shadow visions and whatnot. So for $20, you get a deck. And like, it might be lower value than buying packs and crafting that stuff. I don't know exactly. I haven't done the numbers, but you know, at $20 a deck, it's an easy thing, or $19.99. It's an easy purchase. It's very impulse based.
Well, and I mean, if I put my marketing hat on, you know, and sales hat on, you know, those deck recipes for a certain amount of money, that's the entry that people need. Because once they get into that, then they'll start buying packs, because they already have a deck now that they can actually play, and then they're in that frame that, okay, now you just have to, you know, keep them engaged. And
another issue is that with, for example, if someone ever asked me, oh, Jackie, I'm a free-to-play player, what legendary should I craft? I would say craft Sylvanas or Ragnaros. And like these neutral legendaries that you can just put in a wide variety of decks.
Right.
But now there aren't really, other than like Thanatos, there aren't many neutral legendaries that you can just put in a load of stuff. Like, the legendaries are more specific to certain decks, so you do have to craft more to be able to play different things.
That is.
And I like that. Personally, I love the fact that it's fleshing out class identity. It's just unfortunate that it comes at the cost of, you know, affordability.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
and
that
a lot of
conflict
people in the pro scene
have.
don't care, right? It's always the conflict between the people who are established and people who are just coming in.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like one of the cool things too is, you know, we have so many people playing against AI and PvE, right? Wouldn't it be nice if you could just pick up one of the recipes and go up against AI without paying for the cards? Because that way you get like the ability to experience that stuff, test the decks out that they have for you. You can't build anything you want, but you can build those decks specifically for free and try them out. I feel like that would be a good way to let people at least experience the decks and how they play.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what Tavern Brawl does sometimes, right? Like, I feel like Tavern Brawl is that arena for them to be able to play cards they actually don't have. And I think that's fine. I mean, but I just don't think that's enough of a, you know, an entry, like a just lessening the barrier entry to competitive or just the rest of the game. You know, the rest of the game does require you to have cards, or does require you to know the cards, like an arena, and you know, they're penalized there. But again, it doesn't seem to be happening too much. And a lot of people that listen to this show are in more of that boat than I would say, you know, just like us, who just buy every single card and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
So
can we talk about duplicates in card packs for just a minute?
But you don't think they shouldn't be allowed? Like, duplicates should not be allowed?
Honestly, like, there should be some sort of... I feel like the first time you get a legendary, it should be into your collection. The second time you get it, it should be worth 800 dust.
Okay, sure.
Like, I don't think duplicates should ever be worth a quarter of the original. If
It's brutal.
It's so ridiculous.
Dude, Overwatch is
no,
even
I do
worse.
agree with that.
Overwatch
Does that make
is
sense?
worse, man. Yeah.
Well, Overwatch is worse, but like Overwatch
it's
is also
brutal. It's brutal.
there's zero gameplay, like zero gated behind skin.
Okay,
zero.
yeah, sure.
So I think it's important to like take that into consideration. Honestly, tomorrow Overwatch could tell me, "Hey, I'm selling you like the butt cheek is nude left skin of Widowmaker for $150," and I'd be like, I'd be like, I don't care. I don't care if everybody's naked in my games anymore. Like I don't care. It doesn't change anything. I can sell headshot
I would
them.
care.
Or run away from them.
I would totally.
Of course you would. Of course you care. But the point is, like, it doesn't matter who looks fancy in Overwatch, but in Hearthstone, getting ruined on duplicates is disgusting.
Yeah,
I mean, I
feels
feel like it
super
just hurts
bad.
a lot, man.
Yeah.
Like I remember opening like 7 boogie monsters or some shit during when it was live. You know how bad that felt? It's
I
like
had
here are
3.
like 6 legendaries I could have had, and it's just like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm not desensitized to that, even though I dump a lot of money in the game. Some people think whales don't care. I do, dude. This is absurd.
It does feel. I mean, it's just even the very. It's like the very simple even UI scenario, right? Like when you get a legendary, you're supposed to feel great. It doesn't even matter, if it's a duplicate. You're supposed to feel like you got super lucky. And whenever you're getting like a quarter of it, it doesn't feel like you got lucky. In fact, it feels like you got shafted.
Swindled.
Yeah. Like I would have rather had an epic, kind of like a unique epic kind of feel.
Do you think it'd be better to have it as everything is? You get 50% instead of a quarter. You get 50%, or do you think just legendaries? You should.
Honestly, I think that the everything is 50% might be good for one reason, is that the whales, like. Because if it kicks in when they start getting duplicates, I still think the people who will get the most duplicates will be the biggest spenders anyway. Right? Like if they get commons and epics and legendaries as duplicates, like it won't affect them as much. They'll still spend a whole bunch, and they're going to be the ones who get the most dust back from this change overall. Whereas the average to mid spender is going to be a lot more satisfied.
Yeah.
And the whale will just not notice oftentimes, just like, oh, well, cool. I just hit the button and I don't count what it is. I don't look at what it is. It's just click the button.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah.
All right. Well, this is a question that's. I mean, it's recurring. We're gonna, have to talk about this thing once every 2 or actually once every time an expansion comes out. So once every 4 months, the same question comes up, and keep asking it. It's a relevant question every time it happens. Just to see if it's any better or worse. But it's obviously not affecting the growth of the game. I can't believe we're at 70 million. Did you know we were that high? I thought we were like at 50 accounts. I know, but still, I thought we were like at 55 or something like that, or maybe 60, but not 70. Holy crap!
I can't wait for the packs. We're gonna get 100 million.
I know. You're gonna get 4 packs. Whoa! Holy crap! Amazing. But why don't we wrap up, guys? It's been a solid show. We've talked about a lot of things, and Jackie, it's every time we have you on, it's a lot of fun. So, thankfully, you had a break from the global games. But how's that going? How's UK doing?
Yeah, no, it's good. Well, we actually got crushed against USA our first week. I didn't even get to play though because that was our fourth player.
Oh, it's because of you. That's why.
Yeah. If I got to play,
totally is because of you, weren't there?
And then last week we played against Romania, and I was on holiday at the time, so I had to play like on an ironing board, like with some dodgy Spanish internet.
Hearthstone, baby, Hearthstone.
But yeah, we won, which was great. So
RDU's on Romania, right?
Right now. Sorry,
RDU's on Romania, right?
Yeah, RDU, cool. Yeah, but we crushed them.
So looking good for getting out of the groups. There's still like another month's worth of matches, right? At least.
Yeah, our next match is in like another couple of weeks. It's over a long period of time.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
All right,
good to be in it.
Yeah, good luck to you guys. But where can people find you? Do you want to do any shout outs?
Yeah, if you guys want to watch my stream, I stream most days of the week at twitch.tv/JackieChan, or the other way around. F2K_Jackie is my Twitter where I post all my decks and stuff. Yeah, come check me out.
Yeah, you want to see awesome decks, man.
Thanks
Just go
for
check
having me on Value Town.
Anytime.
Been a pleasure.
Anytime. Noxious, shout outs.
Shout out to Complexity as usual, to you for putting the show together. And if you want to check me out, Noxious GLHF on YouTube and Noxious_GG on Twitch when I do stream. Now I've got to get some Gwent practice in, so I probably won't be streaming a whole lot of Hearthstone since I'm attending a tournament.
Oh yeah, that's that
like,
big
next
tournament,
week.
right?
I have to go. It's
How much is it?
$100,000 on the line.
100,000. Oh my god. that's
So
crazy.
since I'm convinced I'm going 8th place, I don't think it affects me at all that it's 1,000 or 17,000. But you know,
Nice.
whatever.
It's
I'll
it's
go
an
there.
8-man invitational.
No, there's 4 qualified people.
Oh, okay.
And
And 4-man invitational. Nice. I like the odds of that, man. You need to be invited to those
good
kind
luck.
of things. Jack, you need to be invited to those type of four invitational 4 qualifier tournaments. Those are the old days of Hearthstone. But good luck to you there, man. That'd be awesome if you ended up winning it. Oh my god, that'd be so fun. Who else is going? Like,
Life Coach is gonna be there. Trump is going, and I believe
okay.
Manager of a Dota team, CD something.
Oh, all right. Good deal.
Forget the name.
All right. Well,
something KDD or KKD or whatever. I don't know.
okay.
Oh.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he's a big streamer,
yeah.
right? Or
Is it
or you-
EG? Might be EG.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, good luck to you in that. 100,000. That's a lot, man. It's more than most of the Hearthstone tournaments these days, at least lately.
Oh, I'm not getting a penny of that, but
You never know. You never know.
the court flip my way to the top, like Top Warrior and Gwent.
Exactly. But I want to thank you guys for doing the show today, the 2 of you guys, of course. Of course, I want to thank all the patrons for supporting the show and being just kind of that rock that we have. Also, Ting for sponsoring this specific episode. And, you know, those of you who don't know Ting's a U.S. cell phone provider, and they've got no plans, none of those rates, none of those things that you expect from a lot of the big cell phone companies. And if you're the type of person that feels like you have way too much data on your plan and you barely even use any of it, then Ting is the perfect solution for you. Like, they literally, you just pay for the few megs or whatever a few gigs that you're using, and you'd be done with it and not have to pay that extra $50 or whatever it is on your cell phone bill. So take a look at that. You're trying to reduce your bills. I think Ting's going to be a great option for you. They got great customer service, award-winning customer service. So if you want, you don't have to talk to any kind of automated system. You actually talk to real people at the end of their lines. And if you use ting.com/valuetown, or value.ting.com, you can actually use this $25 promo, which is usually a free month on Ting, since Ting's average bill is $23. So definitely check them out. They're trying to do some more stuff in Hearthstone, supporting things like this, and even Streamer Showdown. And so go and support them, and you know, let them know that you guys really appreciate it. But that's going to be it, guys, though, for Valuetown. You can find the VODs for this on youtube.com/Valuetown, and follow the show's Twitter account at ValuetownGG. But for Jackie Chan, my Noxious, and myself, ChanManV, we'll see you next week, guys. Later.